quickly want to show you how to save your flowchart or your diagram or whatever it is you've done in Inkscape once it's finished. So this is just the flowchart that we used in the flowchart video. You can see I've saved it. So obviously it's always important to save your document as an SVG file. That's an Inkscape SVG file, and it looks like this. And then you can obviously reopen it and make edits or changes. After Prof scribbles all over it, or I scribble all over it, then you might need to make some changes, or Dani. So save it as an SVG file, then you can make as many changes as you need in Inkscape, but that's not the format that you would use in your actual document. So what you do is you say File, Save As, and then you just change the type. PDF, for example, is a good one. And then as far as the options go, I would say convert text to paths, particularly if you've downloaded a font. If you embed the fonts, it sometimes comes out a little bit messy. This omit text in PDF and create LaTeX file, that would be if you were to write the text and then it would automatically create the associated LaTeX file. It is rumored to work. I haven't got it to work. The way that you have to call it in the packages you need sometimes confuse me, so I just do a normal method like this. So I say convert text to paths, and then here you can either choose the documents page size or the exported object size. That obviously is only going to export just right to the bounds of this box. So I just save like that. And if I show my desktop, you can see it comes out as a PDF. Obviously it looks huge, but there it is. So you can see it's really close, but when you call this into LaTeX and then you scale it according to text width, it'll look right. Another little trick that you can do if you want a little bit more space around the outside, one thing that I sometimes do is I will bring in a rectangle like this, for example, and then I'll say no fill and no stroke. So it's actually an empty rectangle. The only issue with this is once you click off it, then it disappears. You can't actually select it because it doesn't really exist. So, and then I resize this object. So for example, I might, let's say, see now, that's a classic example of when it's gone. So the only way to get it back is to reselect everything. And so we're happy with that, let's say, and then we go File, Save As. And I'm just going to make it number 2 and PDF. And then I'm going to say exported object size, but now it's actually going to export to that rectangle that I made instead of right up to the lines. And so if I do that, and I open example flowchart number 2, you can see it's slightly bigger and it's got some space. This really makes no difference. It's going to look exactly the same on your white page in LaTeX, but it's just for preference. And the last thing I want to show you, just in case you need it, is you can also export as a PNG image. So if you go, so let's, for example, let's say we want to export this stuff as a PNG. So we go here, you can click export PNG image and it'll pop up over here as a little panel. And what's quite nice here is you can just export a selection, and it's whatever is currently selected. So say, for example, these arrows are a different format. I don't really want them. I can just select here and say export just the selection, and say export as, and maybe go desktop and just say flowchart piece. Sorry, I'm typing out of the screen, so I'm just saving it here to my desktop. And then oh, hold on a sec. So that's just, I'm just giving it the file name over there, and that's the route to the desktop. And then I'm going to say export. And then if you go check the desktop, it will have come out as a flowchart. And as you can see, it's just the stuff that I selected. And the reason why you might want to do it as a PNG is you can see there's no background here. So that's quite useful for stuff that you're going to overlay. Probably I can't see a reason why you would use that in your thesis, but just good to know. And then you might see a similar effect. So if I come here and I ungroup this box and I then change the fill of the box to no fill, it looks exactly the same here. But when I export this selection as a PNG image, just leave it as that name, you'll see now that this box is see-through, whereas the other two are white. So just for you to know the difference, that has no fill, this has a white fill. So that's how you save your stuff out of Inkscape so that you can use it in your thesis. I think you'll only use the PDF format anyway, but it's just good for you to know about the PNG format.